He's a family guy, first ballot Hall of Famer, and we're just going to enjoy him. Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
That's right, Coach.
Bill Belichick.
I mean, he might get Belichicked. That's a new word we made up today. Might get Belichick'd.
Charles Barkley just told LeBron James he might not make the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. Bill Belichick, the greatest NFL coach ever with more Super Bowl rings than anyone, just got rejected by voters.
Legendary coach Bill Belichick was snubbed in his first year of eligibility for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If you need a refresher, Belichick has 8 Super Bowl rings, 6 as a head coach during the New England Patriots dynasty.
Barkley saw that news and immediately went on live TV to warn LeBron he could be next. The joke was hilarious. But was it really a joke? Should LeBron be worried about his Hall of Fame chances after what just happened to Belichick? Drop your take below.
Well, in a shocking development, according to multiple reports, Bill Belichick is not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So how in the world does this happen? Well, Belichick, he fell short of getting the 40 out of 50 votes he needed in order to get in. And the Pro Football Hall of Fame Selection Committee, it's made up of media members and football experts like former coaches and GMs. So this means that 11 of them did not vote for Belichick in his first year of eligibility. And people are wondering, what gives? Is this some sort of punishment for the Spygate and Deflategate scandals?
Bill Belichick didn't make the Pro Football Hall of Fame on his first ballot. Let that sink in for a second. Bill Belichick, the coach with more Super Bowl rings than any coach in NFL history, the mastermind behind the Patriots dynasty, the guy who turned a 6th-round draft pick named Tom Brady into the greatest quarterback of all time. That Bill Belichick just got rejected by the 50-person selection panel because he didn't reach the 40-vote threshold required for immediate entry.
Today is one of the most disgraceful days in sports history. It's a disgrace. The Hall of Fame, if they don't correct this decision, this egregious error, this crime in sports parlance, the Hall of Fame shouldn't even matter anymore.
The sports world collectively lost its mind when the news broke. Patrick Mahomes called it insane. LeBron James called it impossible and disrespectful. Fans couldn't believe it. Former players were shocked. Everyone agreed this was one of the most baffling Hall of Fame decisions in sports history. And that's when Charles Barkley saw an opportunity for absolute comedy gold.
You know, when you talk about the Lakers franchise, we still talk championships, and that's not the talk around town now. So a decision is going to have to be made on, you know, going to move forward. If you're going to rely on him and him only to win championships, you're not going to win. So I think, you know, starting now and going up to All-Star, they need to make a decision like, okay, he has the ball, Austin Reeves, and then, you know, make him like the third guy. But enjoy watching him. You know, personal friend, seen him when he came in high school, played with him for 2 years, great guy, great leader, always does the right thing. He's a family guy, first ballot Hall of Famer, and we're just going to enjoy him. Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
That's right, Coach.
Bill Belichick.
I mean, he might get Belichicked. That's a new word we made up today. Might get Belichick'd.
During TNT's Inside the NBA broadcast, the crew was discussing the Belichick snub, because apparently even basketball shows can't resist talking about football drama. Shaq, Kenny Smith, and Ernie Johnson were all weighing in on how crazy the decision was. And then Barkley, being Barkley, turned to the camera and delivered one of the greatest lines of the year.
I'm speaking for the whole ESPN family. If you get screwed and don't get in the Hall of Fame on the first vote, you can come to ESPN and work with us. I'm gonna hire you personally.
LeBron, I'm speaking for the whole ESPN family, Barkley said with a completely straight face. If you get screwed and don't get in the Hall of Fame on the first vote, you can come to ESPN and work with us. I'll hire you personally. The studio erupted. Shaq was dying laughing. Kenny was cracking up. Ernie had that knowing smile he gets when Chuck says something simultaneously hilarious and slightly insane. Because on the surface, the idea that LeBron James wouldn't make the Basketball Hall of Fame on his first ballot is completely absurd. LeBron is arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. 4 championships, 4 MVPs, all-time leading scorer, over 20 seasons of elite play. There's zero chance he doesn't make the Hall of Fame immediately. But that's exactly what makes the joke work so perfectly, because that's what everyone thought about Belichick too. 6 Super Bowl rings as a head coach, 2 more as an assistant, the greatest dynasty in modern NFL history, a coaching tree that includes half the current head coaches in the league. If anyone was a guaranteed first-ballot Hall of Famer, it was Belichick. And yet here we are. Later in the segment, Shaq was talking about LeBron's inevitable Hall of Fame induction. First-ballot Hall of Famer, Shaq said with complete confidence, and that's when Barkley delivered the follow-up punch. Maybe. You never know. He might get Belichick'd. That phrase right there is instantly iconic. Getting Belichick'd is now going to be the term for when someone who absolutely should be a lock for immediate Hall of Fame induction somehow gets rejected by voters for reasons nobody can quite understand. It's the new sports tragedy, the new inexplicable injustice. And Barkley coined it perfectly. The sarcasm in Barkley's delivery was chef's kiss. He knows LeBron is getting in on the first ballot. Everyone knows LeBron is getting in on the first ballot. But after watching Belichick get denied, suddenly nothing feels certain anymore. If the greatest coach in NFL history can't get 40 out of 50 votes, what's stopping Basketball Hall of Fame voters from pulling the same nonsense?
I have more breaking news, though. Bill Belichick will not be first ballot Hall of Famer. He did not receive enough votes.
Bullshit. What?
Yeah.
Bill ain't no first ballot Hall of Famer.
Wait,
he got
what?
more chips than goddamn Frito-Lay.
Bill Belichick? So they did an NFL 100 team. Bill was on it, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer?
How do you feel?
Skip may not have him as the best ever, but you can't deny he's a first ballot coach.
He would be in the Hall of Fame. He'd be in my Hall of Fame. But he was a somewhat overrated product of Tom Brady.
Even the first 3 chips that he won, that was all Tom Brady?
The joke also works because it taps into something genuinely frustrating about Hall of Fame voting across all sports. These committees are supposed to recognize greatness and enshrine the best of the best. But increasingly, they're becoming platforms for voters to make statements, grind axes, or just be contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. Belichick's rejection feels like that. There's no logical reason for it based on his accomplishments. It has to be personal. It has to be voters deciding they don't like him as a person, or they're still mad about Spygate, or they resent the Patriots' dominance. Something petty. And if that can happen to Belichick in football, theoretically it could happen to anyone in any sport. That's the unsettling truth underneath Barkley's joke. The Hall of Fame is supposed to be about honoring greatness, but it's increasingly feeling like it's about whatever random opinions 50 people happen to hold on voting day. Patriots owner Robert Kraft released a statement defending Belichick and calling him the greatest coach of all time who deserved unanimous first ballot induction, which is absolutely correct. But it also highlights how powerless teams and leagues are when Hall of Fame voters decide to go rogue. Kraft can say whatever he wants. Belichick's resume speaks for itself. None of that mattered because the voters decided they didn't feel like honoring him yet. LeBron is watching all of this play out and probably having a tiny moment of anxiety in the back of his mind. Not serious anxiety, because, again, there's no realistic scenario where he doesn't make the Basketball Hall of Fame immediately. But still, if Belichick can get rejected, technically anyone can get rejected. That's the new reality. The comparison between Belichick and LeBron is actually fascinating when you think about it. Both are all-time greats in their respective sports. Both have dominated for decades. Both have multiple championships. Both have completely changed how their sports are played and understood. Both have also been controversial figures who generate strong opinions, positive and negative. Belichick is respected but not universally loved. He's seen as cold, calculating, willing to do whatever it takes to win, even if it bends rules or alienates players. His coaching style is brilliant but ruthless. Some people admire that, others resent it. And apparently, enough voters in that 50-person panel fall into the second category that he couldn't reach 40 votes. LeBron has similar dynamics. He's unquestionably great. His basketball accomplishments are undeniable. But he's also been a polarizing figure throughout his career. The decision, leaving Cleveland twice, super teams in Miami, the way he's controlled narratives and managed his public image, his political activism. Some people love all of that. Others can't stand it. And when it's time for Hall of Fame voting, who knows what petty grievances might influence someone's decision? The difference is that basketball Hall of Fame voting has traditionally been less controversial than football. Basketball voters generally recognize greatness and vote accordingly. You don't see the same kind of weird snubs and statement votes, but after watching what just happened to Belichick, can anyone really feel 100% confident anymore? Barkley's offer to hire LeBron at ESPN if he gets screwed is also hilarious on another level, because LeBron absolutely does not need ESPN as a safety net. LeBron is a billionaire with multiple business ventures and media investments. He's already producing content through his own companies. If he wanted to work in media after retirement, he could launch his own network. He doesn't need Charles Barkley to give him a job. But that's what makes the joke work. It's absurd on every level. LeBron isn't getting rejected from the Hall of Fame, and if by some bizarre twist of fate he did get rejected, he wouldn't need ESPN to rescue him. The entire premise is ridiculous, which is exactly why it's so funny. The timing of Barkley's comment is also perfect, because LeBron is getting older and clearly nearing the end of his career. He's 41 years old. He's been in the league for 22 seasons. Retirement is probably only a couple years away at most. So Hall of Fame eligibility is actually on the horizon. It's not some distant theoretical thing anymore. In 3 to 5 years, LeBron will be eligible. And now, thanks to the Belichick situation, there's this tiny sliver of paranoia that maybe, just maybe, something weird could happen. The other layer to this is that Barkley and LeBron have had a complicated relationship over the years. Barkley has criticized LeBron's decisions multiple times, particularly around the decision and the super team era. LeBron has fired back at Barkley publicly. There's been tension. So when Barkley makes a joke about LeBron potentially not making the Hall of Fame, there's a tiny edge to it. It's mostly friendly, but there's also that underlying dynamic of two legends who don't always see eye to eye.
Shaq jumping in to declare LeBron a first-ballot Hall of Famer shows the consensus view. Nobody seriously thinks LeBron is at risk. But Barkley introducing the maybe and the possibility of getting Belichick'd is perfect television. It's provocative without being genuinely offensive. It's funny precisely because it's so unlikely. And it gives people something to talk about and debate, even though there's no real debate to be had. The phrase, getting Belichick'd, is going to stick around. Every time there's a Hall of Fame vote in any sport from now on, if someone who seems like an obvious choice gets rejected, people are going to reference this. Belichick's snub will become the cautionary tale, the reminder that nothing is guaranteed when you put decisions in the hands of voters who might have their own agendas. What makes the Belichick situation even more frustrating is that it's not like he's borderline. If this was someone with a debatable resume, you could understand the controversy. But Belichick is objectively one of the greatest coaches in NFL history by every possible metric. The only argument against him is personal dislike, which shouldn't be a factor in Hall of Fame voting at all. It should be purely about accomplishments and impact on the game. The same would be true for LeBron. If he somehow got rejected, it wouldn't be based on basketball. It would be purely personal. People who don't like his politics, people who resent his influence, people who are tired of hearing about him, people who think he's overrated even though he's clearly not. None of that should matter for Hall of Fame voting, but apparently it does, as Belichick just learned. Barkley's joke ultimately works because it highlights the absurdity of the entire situation. Belichick getting rejected is stupid. LeBron getting rejected would be even stupider. But in a world where the first thing can happen, suddenly the second thing doesn't seem completely impossible anymore. And that's genuinely concerning for anyone who cares about sports history being recorded accurately. The fact that this happened in the NFL first is also significant. The NFL has the most restrictive Hall of Fame of any major sport. They only induct a handful of people each year. The voting process is notoriously difficult and political. Basketball's Hall of Fame is much more generous by comparison. They induct more people. The standards seem lower. The process seems less contentious. So if LeBron were at serious risk of rejection, it probably wouldn't happen in basketball. But then again, nobody thought Belichick was at serious risk either. Charles Barkley just created the perfect phrase for Hall of Fame injustice. Getting Belichick'd is now a thing, and LeBron better hope it doesn't happen to him. If you think LeBron's a guaranteed first-ballot Hall of Famer, smash that like button. If you think voters might pull the same garbage they just did to Belichick,
Hit subscribe and tell us why in the comments.